Hi, I'm Randeep.
Hi, I'm Bhumika. Welcome to Talk Notch, where we talk about everything relevant under the sun.
Talk Notch is about addressing the unaddressed and insightful conversations.
Today, we are going to talk about the relationship dynamics of Gen Z.
Gen Z is being scoffed at like never before. There's so many labels attached to them: unsocial, tech addicts, self absorbed,
Slackers, too open minded.
narcissist, generation snowflake. But isn't a person always a mix of idiosyncrasies and traits?
That is so true. And Ruby, I personally disapprove of labels because I think they are too unjustifiably generic, definitive, and brutally confining in nature. I mean, I could be an extrovert and a nerd. In fact, I am an extrovert and a nerd. And you cannot label me for an oddball for that.
But indisputably, they too have a reputation of being too self centered to think of forming meaningful and long lasting relationships.
But at the same time, Rupi, if we go by the Tinder's latest dating report in 2023, it has been found that more than half of the millennials agreed that dating was getting better for 18 to 25-year-olds as compared to how it was for them at the same age.
What does getting better mean?
I mean, I think getting better means that they can be who they are and yet have the connection that they want all at the same time without any ruffles.
I think even as the cultural commentators and pundits continue to make sweeping statements, we all might be missing an important point that is coming out of these surveys, that this generation is reflecting a refreshing shift in the matters pertaining to love and intimacy.
I agree, and breaking all the stereotypes.
When we got married, there was a stereotypical rite of passage that we had to traverse. We had to put up a facade that stuck to us without us even realizing that it was happening.
And this facade, Rupi, preceded an identity crisis, clearly. But I would say that Paul Brunson, who is an insight expert, has predicted that Gen Z daters are going to have the most successful marriages yet.
Should we be really surprised? This is a generation that has been vehemently rejecting old fashioned norms around what romance and marriage should look like.
So refreshing, and I would like nothing better right now to decode this change from top to bottom and through and through.
To begin with, this is a generation that demands authenticity. This is a generation that is honest, loud, and proud. And despite the risk of rejection, they believe it's better to be yourself early on in the relationship rather than telling little white lies about yourself to impress the date.
Rupi, that reminds me of a 25-year-old I recently met who rejected a very good match, a very promising match that looked great on paper, just on the basis that it did not align with the life that she had envisioned for herself. Imagine.
So, this shows that they're holding a firm ground about what helps them to grow and what doesn't.
Also, I feel, Rupi, that this generation, for them, being single is more intentional than before. They are actually squeamish about being in a relationship that betrays their personal core values.
So that reminds me of Shawn Mendes, the Canadian singer. He's put on record that he's not dating anybody, and the reason that he's given is that love hasn't stumbled upon him and he's not chasing it.
Oh wow! Only a singer can say something
And
so
he writes
beautifully.
lyrics as well.
Oh yes.
I think this has got a lot to do with financial independence because Gen Z wants to put a financial plan in place before they settle down. One reason could be that the millennials could afford homes and support the family on single parent salary, but Gen Z is aware that it can't do the same. And then they have this wanderlust, and what used to be luxuries for millennials have become necessities for Gen Z.
That is very well put, Rupi. I agree with you. And also, there is another trend that Gen Z has brought into the dating circuit, which is that of open casting.
You mean the inverse of typecasting?
Yes, typecasting that we guys adhered to, which was that we would date or marry people who fell under our type, which for me was a tall, dark, and handsome man, which luckily I got also. So, yeah. And this generation, surprisingly, is exploring and experimenting when it comes to people they're dating, and they are not averse to going in for people who would probably feed their thirst for adventure and variegated experiences.
That reminds me again of Billie Eilish. She's finally come out and she's said that I thought the world always knew.
So typical of this generation. Even Miley Cyrus has had quite an eye-popping journey around her
She's
orientation.
always been very candid about her orientation.
Yes.
Bhumika, we can't talk about Gen Z and not bring about situationships. There
Absolutely.
definitely is a commitment lag in this generation. Even as per Tinder's report, only 1 in 10 Gen Zers have said that they are committed to being committed.
That's not surprising. And I feel that maintaining connections with technology has enabled them to, juggle multiple lines of interests. And as such, Gen Z anyways is very keen on keeping their options open.
This might seem to be very evil or sneaky for the older generations, but for the youngsters, that's the way it goes. Since you mentioned maintaining connections with technology, many in Gen Z are experiencing swiping fatigue when it comes to dating sites. So the Instagram has turned into the new neighborhood block for them. Because here you're able to see what a person is posting, and it's easier to slide into their DMs, like comment on the stories that they post. And from here on, it might or might not lead to a romantic relationship. So this gives a very organic flavor to the whole thing without any pressure.
But Rupi, there is a flip side to this entire scenario as well. They are being ghosted online, right? And there is something called orbiting, where they are keeping their previous love interest or their exes within their orbit, following and liking their posts on Instagram or any other social media platform for that matter, which hampers their own personal growth and does not allow them to move on with their lives.
So another disturbing trend related to this is breadcrumbing, which is a form of manipulation in which you show just enough interest in a person to keep them hooked onto it without any intention of committing to that person. So it's like creating a trail of morsels which might lead to nowhere. So maybe that is the reason people call it Hansel and Greteling.
Oh God, that is so funny, yet disturbing at the same time. And that reminds me of something called cookie jarring, where, like you said, they are, throwing crumbs at potential love interests. So they are actually keeping their love interests in cookie jars while pursuing that one relationship, so that if that one relationship does not work out for them, they have these other potential love interests in their kitty for them to pursue later on, which is so like sly and
It can be so much
manipulative.
damaging to the psyche of a person and, can make them question their self-worth.
Absolutely. So no wonder this generation sometimes, they are
Does.
given labels that we discussed earlier. But also talking about all of these trends, orbiting and cookie jarring and all that, reminds me about how Deepika and Ranveer, when they came on Coffee with Karan, how they were trolled when Deepika admitted to, seeing other people while she was also dating Ranveer Singh.
I think she was just taking it slow. It was not a form of
Yeah.
manipulation.
I think it was very misunderstood the way she
Because
said
if
all
you
of
keep
that.
communication clear, there shouldn't be a problem in that.
Yeah, and if Ranveer Singh was okay with it, like he was very much okay with it, and this is what they are doing these days, so it is fine. And
Now
all
they are
is-
expecting a child also.
all
so
is well now, right? Because they are expecting a child now, so we wish them luck. And on this cute note, we are going to end this episode with the conclusion that Gen Z is defying the well-established status quo and dating on their own terms and in their own time frame.
We're not trying to glorify this generation, neither do we believe in generational finger pointing. We're just trying to decode the recent trends.
Yes. If you liked our episode, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.